Welcome to the channel, Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist. We're on the run. I'm doing some exercise. And I advise you to do exercise too if you're going through a difficult time, depending on if you've had an accident or not. Just interestingly, hang on bus, I'll just pause for a minute. When I was married to my narcissistic second wife, I can say that based on her immaturities and the troubles that she caused. We were meant to meet up down at the waterfront at 9:30. We made this arrangement. I didn't have a phone. I organised with somebody to pick up a phone at 11 o'clock. She was going to do a couple of things. I was going to do an exercise training session, and then we were going to meet at the waterfront down here at 9:30. And then I get there. I like to get to places early, so I get there at about 9:15, and I'm just hovering along, waiting along. Nobody turns up, and this was a surprise to me, because the arrangements were clearly made. She knew that I was a punctual person, and so it come to 10 o'clock, no one. I got no phone, I got no way of contacting her, no way of working out what's going on, and I have to get to get a phone at 11 o'clock. To cut a long story short, this is how it works. This is what they do to you. And you need to watch all these things for your own mental health, because these people can cause very serious accidents. They dishevel your mind, they undo your thinking so intensely and so wonderfully, you don't even know they're doing it. They don't even know they're doing it. It's just the way they are. You have to protect yourself from it. So in a panic, I've gone, right, she ain't turning up. I wonder what's happened to her. So then you go into, gosh, I wonder what's happened. You go into concern, deep concern, worry. You're wondering what the hell has happened. What could have happened to her? Oh my goodness. And again, I couldn't contact her because I was waiting to meet this lady for the phone. I didn't want to be late. Now the phone becomes a priority. The pickup of the phone becomes a priority. She was going to drive me there, but now I have to get there by foot. And I made it, and I got the phone. And I start going home, walking home. So just as I'm approaching the top of the street, she pulls out of the street and stops, waiting to cross the intersection just as I got there. And by this time, to be honest with you, I was pretty well in anxiety, terrible anxiety, which was unusual for me. Like, I wasn't used to all this bullshit. And that's what it is. It's severe. What we learn from this is these people will have severe negligence. They will deliberately have disrespect. If somebody's not sticking to their arrangements, you know that's going to be trouble straight away. If you meet somebody and they don't turn up or they're late, no, straight away, that's trouble. Not worth it. And just move on. You got to meet people on the same caliber as you. I've had girlfriends where I've had to teach them to just be on time. These people aren't interested, and when push comes to shove, they're not going to be there anyway. So I went up to the car and I said, "Where were you?" And she said, "I went to buy a dress." And I wasn't happy with that. So I had the shits. To be honest with you, I just went, "Oh, that's ridiculous." I said, "So where are you going now?" She said, "I'm taking it back. I've got to take it back." I've gone, "But weren't we supposed to meet at the waterfront?" Oh, she goes, "Oh no, I went and bought a dress." By this time, your head's swimming. Your mind's swimming. You're foggy. You're wondering, what the hell just happened? And what does this mean? How could this, you know, just the negligence and disrespect and the arrogance that comes with it, right? I'm married to this person, thinking, what on earth is going on here? So the wind was up. She said that I'm taking back the dress because she didn't like it. Something just wasn't adding up. None of it was adding up. It was just completely out of order and disrespectful, and not the sort of behaviour that you'd be displaying as a functioning female in a marriage. It was absolutely woeful. So I decided to go kiteboarding. So I went kiteboarding, and I went out. Kiteboarding's dangerous. One mistake and you're gone. I went out and my mind just was not right from this ordeal. Now this is what I'm saying to you. These people can cause you severe damage, and that can come through mental health disruption. They disrupt your mental health. When your mental health's disrupted, that disrupts your mind to body coordination. I can tell you from experience. I know this. I've prided myself on living an alcohol and drug-free life because of my sporting life and my motorcycling life. As a young man, very young, 12, 14, 15, 13, 14, 15-year-old, I used to knock around with the bikies. And I had a little motorbike myself, and I wanted to be a bikie, right? And I'd polish the Harleys and all this other stuff. I saw these people that took drugs kill themselves, have terrible, horrible accidents, maim themselves, suicide. None of their relationships ever worked. And I decided at a young age that I was not going to participate in alcohols and drugs, because I saw what happened to these people. I watched it with my own two eyes. Then I got a job at the meatworks where I was had access to thousands of people to be able to watch people and how they live and what they do. And I learned that drugs and alcohol are going to bring you down, that you're not going to get anywhere in life. And you're going to have accidents and you're going to have harm. So what I'm saying is you can't let these people vandalize your mental health, because they will, right? They will. As the relationship goes on and they deteriorate, right, because they haven't got the maturity of the skills or the character to maintain or sustain a healthy relationship, you will see, as their behavior deteriorates, the effect that it'll have on your mental health. Please listen to me. So I launch the kite and I go out, and I'm out there for about 10 minutes, and I'm going, I just ain't right. I just do not have the sensorial accuracy to manage what I'm doing out here. Okay, I did a couple of jumps and mowed some lawn, and mowing the lawns when you're going backward and forward, and I've just gone, no, I'm not right. So I went in. I come in. All good so far. I lowered the kite into a neutral position, walked across the paddock a little way, and the kite got hit by a blast of wind, and I got Superman. Now Superman's when you unexpectedly get hauled into the air without any control over the kite or what's going to happen to you. You're airborne involuntarily without any control. So my phone, which is GPS phone, I went 5 meters in the air, 25 meters across, and come back in towards the ground diagonally. I hit the ground, snapped my arm, hit my head, shattered my talus bone in my ankle, which is the most intricate bone in your ankle. And then I was being hauled across the oval. This is on an oval, in change the baby's nappy position sort of thing, as it were, on my back. And then I finally got to the ejection pulley and stopped the power of the kite. And people come down around and they rang an ambulance, and the GPS shows me going off in an ambulance to the hospital. As I walk 4 years later, I still have the injuries in my ankle and screws and agony and pain. My arm come pretty good, and remember, I'm a bricklayer by trade, so you can imagine the need I have for full health of body and the instruments of my body. When she came to the hospital, I said to her, "What the hell were you thinking today? Why didn't you meet when we were supposed to meet? Because this is what you've done." Now, I had the accident and it was my fault, but the micro, oh, how can I put this? The events that happened leading up to the accident were a consequence of the negligence of her not being where she should be when she should have been, and she just didn't turn up. Caused a severe, what could have been catastrophic, life-ending accident. My mind was altered and disrupted by her negligence. Now, a lot of you people are in relationships with people that are doing this on a micro level. They might be alcoholic, oh, they're pissed again. They might be on dope, oh, they're fucking stoned again. Right? These people don't realise how this affects your mental health as their partner. They don't care. Right? You got no idea how. And by the way, this woman was a tablet addict. She thrived on a medication. And this has ways of altering their thinking as well. And I don't say that with criticism, I just say that's what she was, that's what she did. She loved the tablets. And you'll become victim to all this. You'll become damaged by all of this, and you have to realise how maiming and how life-threatening this can be. Now, there's another side to this. So I challenged her in the hospital, and I ended up basically telling her to get out, right? I was just disgusted with the whole thing. And now I'm critically injured, and maimed. And again, I repeat, it was a consequence of this person's immaturity and negligence to the relationship. And again, I repeat, a lot of you people are at the end of this, and your mental health is suffering. I'm asking you to please wake up a little bit and not be subject to this. So, I was in a relationship before this with a woman, a Christian woman, who I was engaged to, but she wouldn't wear the ring. And I'm going to do a talk on jewelry. Don't buy these people jewelry, or if you do, make sure it's cheap and see if they wear it. If you buy somebody jewelry and they don't wear it, they're not into the relationship. They are not into the relationship, okay? If you've bought somebody a nice piece of jewelry and it's just sitting in a box, that's their attitude to the relationship. It's a big key on seeing where their heart is, okay? They're not committed. They're really not. They're just turning up. So, yes, this Christian woman, I was engaged to her. And I said, right, are we going to get married or not? And she said not. So I said, right, that's the end of that relationship. And she used to curse me to die. Right, this is the truth as I'm sitting here. People say curses aren't real. Want to make a bet? She used to curse me to die, this woman. And I told her, please don't do that. And I would revoke the curses in the name of Jesus. She would curse you to die. I'm telling you, she'd text it in black and white. I hope you die, I hope death, da 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 da. All right, and I can understand that she was hurt and all this sort of thing, but I don't think it's necessary to curse people to die. Do you? No. Well, she worked at the hospital. Believe it or not, she worked at the hospital. Oh yeah. And here I am in this bed, and she'll vouch for this because I still speak to her. She'll vouch for this. I get wheeled down to the X-ray waiting room, and here she is. I used to call her the nun, right? Still do in a way. And I said, well, you nearly got me, but not quite. You shouldn't curse people to die. And she knew exactly what I meant and exactly what I was talking about. And whilst a very caring woman, right, in her own in a limited way, she still had the capacity, listen very carefully, to curse me to die. Now, she didn't quite pull it off, and but it was close. If I hadn't if the wind speed wasn't what it was, which was gale force from the west, if I didn't come in diagonally, if I had got pulled straight back down to the ground, I would have got killed. So there was some factors at play that helped me survive. But here's this woman looking at me, broken to bits in a hospital bed, who had cursed me to die. And I told her, you shouldn't curse people to die, because it nearly come off. I'll show you what I'm looking at here if I can. Look at that. He's a Thai boxer, martial arts boxer trainer. This is where I grew up. I've never left this valley. I love it. So we have a woman that has cursed me to die. We have a woman that hasn't kept her arrangements, right? And we have a man broken to bits in a hospital bed that's going to spend the next 3 years of his life trying to recover from the injuries, listen very carefully, from the injuries that are, for the most part, caused by these people, verbally and by way of action. Now, you might think I'm just trying to find blame. You might think that I'm just trying to find excuses. No. As I said to you, I pride myself sober-minded and athletic and healthy. These were contributing factors that come from people who were deliberately, by way of immaturity and spirit, causing harm. These people can cause harm. Okay. One more example before I close for this talk on the fool and harm is, if you get with a person, again, that's got an addiction or some kind of an addiction, be it medications, alcohol, marijuana, weed, you'll be putting your energy into them. They're like mosquitoes, right? I liken them to, you'll be putting your energy into these people and they'll be taking it. I'll just try and clear that a bit. They'll be taking all the energy and goodies out of you. They're like vampires, like mosquitoes, parasites. And this used to happen with this particular woman a lot. And I really don't care what they say. I hope they're watching it, to be honest. You'd be pouring in your pure masculinity and mental health, right? These people don't communicate. They put up boundaries. I'm going to do a video on this, actually. They cause distance, they keep themselves in a position where if something, actually they self-prophesy the end of the relationship by way of action and mentality. But anyway, that's their loss. So you're putting in 100% effort, you're trying to build a healthy relationship, and you're watching these addicts heal. Right, you're literally watching them with your own two eyes heal, right, on your health and your input. Right, I've watched this several times. They're healing. They're getting all their needs met. You're just playing a normal, natural role for the relationship, and you look like you're supposed to. And then you'll ring them up. Just, you know, sometimes you'll ring them up, not that they want you to. This is how ignorant and foolish these people are. You'll ring them up. They've been at your place all night, you've made love, you've cooked dinner, you've had a wonderful night together, watched a movie, right? This is true. You've got up, you've cooked them bacon and eggs for breakfast. You're sending them back out into the world to conquer. You ring them up and they can hardly talk. They're supposed to be at work and they're in bed and they can hardly talk. They're back on the drugs. They couldn't wait to get home to get back on the drugs. You're being used. They got no intention of getting anywhere in life. They got no intention of being the best version of themselves. They're going to come and take all your goodies, right? Oh, they love that. They want all the goodies, all the riches of a healthy minded person, and then they go and waste it on what really matters to them, which is their drugs. And they'll keep you from that place, which is another story. I was going to say earlier about boundaries and things like this, how they set up this park. It's a great park the community made for the children. Awesome. And you've got all this going on and you're just trying to be normal. Now, this isn't to count for interfering adult children and the immaturities and lack of character these people have got, and psychological problems that they got, like severe narcissistic, well, let me say dark triad, micro-incremental dark triad problems that they got. Beautiful garden area. I mean, we're blessed. We're so blessed. Look, right on the water, mountains in the background. I'll ride my motorcycle up into those mountains today. You've got a lot to contend with, I'm telling you. Even though you're trying to love these people, they don't want it. Let me finish with this. They do want it, but they don't know what to do with it to help make their life better. A lot of you people are worried about what happens, men and women, hang on, that after you break up with these people by way of physical injury or mental injury, where they've just worn you out because they won't resolve anything, and they blame you too. Don't take the blame. If you know you're doing the best you can. Look at this, viewers, an Aboriginal part that they've made in this park, and those stones in there are shapes of animals and things, and there's the Aboriginal poles. Don't take the blame for other people's negligences, and don't get involved in their setups. They'll try and set you up to cause trouble and things, and then if you don't buy into it, they'll challenge you, they'll try and demasculinize you. Don't do it. Just look at these people and go, you're going to get the arse, you're going to get sent, because they're not aware. This is their mentality. Okay, this is the mentality of these people, and you'll be putting into these people, and they'll be squandering all the goodness and richness that you're putting into their heart and mind and soul, and they know it. They know underneath by conscience. and they try and hide from you their intake of alcohol or drugs. A lot of you women know what I'm talking about, and men. They're closet addicts and alcoholics. And when you talk about just by way of quickly, functioning alcoholics and functioning addicts, they're only pretending to themselves. That's what functioning means to me. They're just pretending. They pretend that nobody knows the condition they're in to themselves, and you're standing there and you're watching them and you're just going, is this some kind of a joke? Like, do you really think that we're this blind? Do you really have such disrespect for yourself and this relationship? I've had to say to these women, if you're going to show up in a way that's representative of this relationship, and they don't, because they don't care about the relationship. At the end of the day, they only care about their habits and what they can get out of it. They're trying to get both the addiction and the relationship. You'll find a lot of these people that have been in long-term relationships before you come along, they've probably been with weak people as well, who haven't challenged for health and happiness. They've just let everything go down the drain. And a lot of these people don't have anything. They're never going to have anything. There's some of my brickwork on that building there, up along the top there. I have anything because they've never been able to find their way out of the foolishness that they live in. The Bible clearly says that we can build on sand or we can build on rock, and the rock being Christian principles and boundaries at work. These people will waste your time. There's my brickwork there, look. Beautiful building, isn't it? That's our brickwork. Will waste years of your life if you let them, but you need to be aware. Okay, they'll damage you physically, they'll wear you out mentally, they'll have minions and gremlins that they're involved with. They'll be whinging about you behind your back. They'll be sharing intimate details about the relationship with these grubs. Yeah, grubs that haven't done anything in life, and they're not going to. They're going to end up with nothing and no one except themselves and their attitudes and their hatred. And they try and hide all this hatred with empathetic work. Don't be fooled. I've seen it. All of these people were working in the community with people, and they couldn't even work out their relationship. I know, I saw it with my own two eyes. They drive around drugged, taking their own lives, risking their own lives and the lives of others, and they don't care because they're equally as selfish as they make out they are empathetic. And as a matter of fact, I call that dark triad empathy. Covert, it's just the evil's covertly hidden behind the empathetic works. These people, listen to me, some of them plan to harm you. They don't want you to succeed. They jump on your train, what you've done in life, by the decisions and sacrifices you've made, and think they can leech it and fuse it across to their life. And when they realise it doesn't work that way, somewhere in the back of their mind, they want to take you out. And if they've got family members or children, I call them gremlins and minions, grubs, that are envious of you, they will make, if you let them, life miserable for you. You need to wake up. You need to know who you are. You need to go, I succeeded with this person. I've supplied them with A-grade masculinity or femininity. Learn from your experience. Get power from your experience. Don't worry about what that person's doing now. It'll be exactly the same as what it was. They'll just be having sex with whoever they can find, pretending that they're going to have a relationship. They'll love bomb the person, then they'll cause a drama, distance the person, and do exactly what they did to you. Set boundaries up around the relationship while everything else around them's dysfunctional and against the relationship. They'll turn up just enough to get what they want relative to their needs, and all these people's needs are varying. Some want a lot, some want less. But most of all, they'll return back to their little hidey hole where their gremlins and minions are, who won't like you, right? They won't like you. They'll pretend they do, but they won't. You're just an outsider. And you have to stay focused. These people, you'll see they're not for you. They just it's transactional. They're transactional. And when you work in with their dysfunction, they'll tell you that they love you because they're trying to condition you to be dysfunctional. The last one I had, there was a big dysfunction. It was the end of the relationship. And she told me that she loved me because I understood the dysfunction. Fuck the dysfunction. The dysfunction can kiss my ass and your ass. And she didn't expect it. She didn't see it coming. And I broke up. Told her to go. Because she didn't have a read on where I was at, where she had positioned me mentally. She was completely negligent. She wasn't aware of herself. She definitely wasn't aware of where I was at in my mind with all her trouble and shit. And she lost the relationship. And at that point, they returned to their default, back to their drugs, back to their minion and gremlins, and they end up with nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's just how it works. It sounds cruel and pessimistic, but I'm sorry, it's just how it works. And they go round in circles until they end up on their own. It's just how it works. People don't recover very well when they've put themselves in a relationship, a genuine relationship with somebody that's absolute A-grade excellent supply, and they fuck it up. People don't recover from that shit. You got to listen to me. They don't come back from that because there's nothing further for them to go to. They just become a pigeon, eating the seeds and shit off the ground that they can find. That's it. Look. Just eating what they can. So don't worry about who they're having sex with and all this sort of stuff, because it isn't working out for them. It's just not. If they are, ultimately they'll shut shop. You cannot go on destroying things and thinking that you're going to have health, happiness. See, you think about the harm that was caused to you physically and mentally. They're setting themselves up for all this harm. They're dodging this harm on themselves. It's coming for them. It's hovering all around them. It's just the way it is. It's just how karma works. And you pray for them. I do. Pray for these people. I never want any harm on these people. Still don't. All my ex-girlfriends still talk to me. Some of them come over every now and then, or I'll see them in the street. I got no hatred, but let's call a spade a spade. And if you're going to be a fool, expect the results of a fool. The Bible says if you build on the sand, you will be washed away. Building on the sand is being negligent and not having a duty of care for yourself or the relationship. Please listen to what I'm saying. Father, I pray right now in the name of Jesus for the listeners. Help us to be wise and build our life on the principles of love your neighbour as yourself, which brings us back to the responsibility of loving ourselves and caring for ourselves. And I pray, Lord my God, for the viewers, that the opportunities they get to share in good and healthy love come their way, that the right person comes their way, and that the wrong people are removed from their lives. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, out.